Hello everyone and welcome to another Transformers third-party review. In today's video, thanks to the team at TF Direct, I'm finally taking a look at the Transform and Rollout 01 Agent Meister, formerly known as the Rollout Hover, I believe it was. This is the Porsche 935 Turbo Special Operations Saboteur. This is of course the Transform and Rollout version of a masterpiece Jazz. Now this is the fourth if you include the Generation Toys version of Jazz, I guess. Masterpiece kind of scale version. My favourite thus far being the Toy World release, well actually the Zeta version of Jazz, which was a re-release with better paint apps. A lot of people stuck by Make Toys, which I can understand. To be honest with you, I am still desperately looking for that Make Toys G2 Jazz that was released at conventions. If anybody could hook me up with a good price, I would forever be in your debt. But of course, this is the Transform and Rollout 01. It's over on the KO channel just for the sheer fact that our good friends at TF Direct are sponsoring this video and like to keep the TF Direct separate from the likes of Robot Kingdom. Side here, we've got the vehicle mode, and on the back we've got all of these gorgeous features. Now this guy has taken, what, 2 years to come out, I think it is, and they've changed him significantly from those initial renders. Is it too late? Is it too little too late? Let's open him up and find out. And here we have it out of its packaging. This has got to be one of the nicest alt modes out of all of those Porsches. It looks fantastic. They've done a really grand job, and we have a majority of the sponsors on there as well. No fear of copyright infringement there, no spelling mistakes. They're just flat out copied that Porsche. I love the wheels on this as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. We've got the Dunlop on those rims there. I got the Martini Porsche on that spoiler section. It's a very good looking alt mode. Now it doesn't have that kind of die cast and heft that we get with the likes of the Zeta Toy World version, but at the same time it is still an exceptional looking vehicle. Just because it doesn't have die cast doesn't necessarily make it a bad toy. Die cast isn't the be all and end all, it just adds heft, and sometimes figures are just as good without the additional die cast. And here we have him alongside the Toy World version of Stepper. Well, it's Zeta's version of Stepper, but you know. If we run them rear wheels to rear wheels, and spoiler to spoiler, you can see that this is quite substantially bigger. That wide body kit really does make the world of difference as well. I mean, I thought the Toy World and Zeta version was fairly substantial, but this is even larger, and I think they've even done a better job at capturing. I mean, I always thought this was kind of the definitive version for vehicle mode, but I think I stand corrected. This vehicle mode is outstanding. Now, as far as accessories go, there's nothing untoward. We get 2 of these speaker cones done in this electric blue, really gorgeous, with chrome plating on the handles, etc. We get 2 of those. We then get a hook and winch, again with some chrome plating on the hook itself. Mine's got a little bit of smearing on there. And then we get a blaster as well with the Masterpiece style handle, as you would expect. Now, as far as scale comparisons go, here he is alongside Optimus Shine. I don't know, maybe he's a little bit too big. I'm not sure. I know the Porsche has a fairly substantial wheelbase, but I still think probably looking at scaling better with the oversized primes as opposed to the standard MP10 in their vehicle mode. And the trouble with this is that more and more of the Hasbro and Takara masterpieces that are coming out now are basing themselves on the cartoon model as opposed to the realistic version. We're getting all of these plus versions and the version 2s and the version 3s of figures, whereas they have gone very much for the realism, which in my opinion is still going to have a very good following. There's a lot of fans out there that prefer the kind of toy look, so kind of based on the toy version back from the 80s, only added that kind of articulation, and I think there's still a big market for that, and I would even go as far as saying that Hasbro and Takara may be ruling a lot of that section of the market out, not giving them toy accurate versions of the figures, instead just aiming at that animation inspiration. And here he is alongside the Wei Zhang oversized version. See, now I think personally that looks better, but I don't have a flat nose truck to hand in real life to compare the dimensions to. I think personally, to look at visually, that looks good. And there we have him alongside the Black Mamba oversized MPM. This is their kind of Scourge repaint. Gorgeous paint applications on these figures there, but that, I think that works. It's really nice to have some realistic alt modes on display. Now, the mighty Jazzmaster does come with a collector's card, albeit kind of outdated in appearance, and he comes with more of an instruction pamphlet. It's very thin. But the card itself is just, I don't know, something just not quite masterpiece in aesthetic there. It's slightly oversized, I think. It's slightly bigger. But yeah, Meister, the original in Japan, I know the Vinyltech version was called Jazzmaster, so I imagine that's why they've gone with the name Agent Meister. Now, as amazing as this vehicle mode looks, I mean, it really does look amazing. Some of the tabs just don't quite push and tab in as much as I'd like. I love that bonnet section there. My son is a huge Porsche fan. He told me off for calling it Porsche. He said, it's Porsche, getting told off by a 10-year-old for my pronunciation. Awesome. Anyway, we pull on this back section here till it comes undone, and then we're going to split these rear wheels. They are tabbed in here, here, and here, like so. Coming down to the underside here, we have these tabs that go up and over the feet. The feet themselves can then come forwards and rock like so. It's a bit flippy floppy at the moment. Let's hope that it sorts itself out. No doubt it will, I'm sure. These sections here, pushers, and this is going to come untabbed like that, so we can move that down and out of the way. And then if you look, there's a groove just here, just big enough to slide that window panel inwards. And if we look at the back of this leg, it's a very subtle movement, but this panel here will be like this to begin with, and that's going to slide inwards, and you can just about see this piece here shifting, so that just slides, so it overhangs the legs more than what it did originally. I like how these just slide up and down on this slider as well. Come around to these knees, you want to rotate this up and extend it. This is then going to come down, and you want to bend it at this hinge here, and as you can see, that's just going to slide in, and that's going to push, and that will lock that knee into position. We can then slide these feet in, and if you look, there's a hole just on the back of this section here. That's going to line up, like so, and then this is going to push and lock those legs into position. And the instructions are a little bit naff, but I think we're meant to just tuck this down either side, so it just sits in there and kind of holds in place. Our next task is to bring these parts down, bring this chest piece down, we now move this piece back. Got enough room just to bring those arms down either side of those shoulder hinges. The bonnet piece is now going to slide like so. These pieces here are again going to slide outwards, and these then come all the way up and all the way up, and then in return we can then slide those in and slide those in. And now that they're in, we can then just bring those down. The head of Jazz up, this panel folds down into the back. Shoulder panels fold out fully like so. Windows fold down on the doors, and these are then going to pull down and slide into the back of this void, and then this can then come up. And if you look here, there are these tabs just on the back. Those are just going to come over. Right, so I've tabbed in this tab underneath here, but these shoulders are a ruddy nightmare. You're meant to slide these up, and then this one's going to go under first, and then this one comes up and goes under, and it all puts excessive pressure on a couple of little screws, and I really don't like it. I do not like that shoulder mechanism at all. There's a tab here, look, the hook here. That's meant to hook into here somehow. This is all popping out now, isn't it? That's meant to hook onto there. I mean, this goes up as high as it can. I just cannot, for the life of me, get that joint to go where it's meant to. Am I doing something horrendously wrong? Is there a secret to this that I'm just not aware of? I mean, surely that is not correct for his shoulders. But anyway, let's extend his elbows down and then flip open those fists and get those out. How disheartening. And here we have him all transformed up. Well, the journey from A to B was different, wasn't it? He tidies up pretty nicely, and he's actually got a very good bot mode. It looks very much like his cartoon counterpart, albeit he's a little bit simplified around those joints. I would have liked some ratchets in amongst all of that, and I have no idea what's going on with those shoulders. I cannot for the life of me get those to look kind of semi-normal. When you get right deep inside those joints, you see that it's a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mess, but shelf-wise, he looks outstanding. He, in my opinion, is the best animation-looking Jazz. I think the head sculpt is freaking superb. He tidies up exceptionally well, and I personally prefer him looks-wise to the Toy World one and Make Toys. That being said, though, he's not without his flaws. His chest does look incredibly wide in his bot mode in comparison to the Zeta Toy World version, and mass shifting much. He was a bigger vehicle mode than the Zeta version, and yet his bot mode is shorter, which is rather nice, isn't it? And here we have him with the Magic Square Optimus Prime, who is the same size as MP10. Who do you think scales better? I actually really like how Agent Meister scales with him. I think that actually looks pretty darn good. I think it's all dependent on what you want from your Jazz. I mean, this is a pretty decent, very affordable figure. I can't help but think some of the transformation and the way those joints sit is a little bit out of date. Now, one of the best parts of this figure, in my opinion, is definitely that head sculpt. They've done an amazing job there. Overall, he does look okay. It's just those shoulders. What on earth have I done wrong? I'll have to go back and look at some other people's videos and see if I can tweak it somewhat, because there's something just not right about those at all. I love that chest section, all holds together really nicely. Really nice curvature there as well. Very sleek and slender design, very much in keeping with some of the other Masterpiece figures like Trax and Sunstreaker. Now, as far as articulation goes, the head can look up and down, we can go left and we can go right. The shoulders, please don't break, can go around, we can come out to the sides. We have an upper bicep rotation there, we have a bend on the elbow, just one. We have rotation on the wrist and a pinned selection of fingers. The waist itself does rotate. No abdominal crunch in there though. We have some weird hip skirts to the side there, which allow for motion forwards and backwards, out to the side. There's a bend on the knee, just a kind of single jointed as well. Upper thigh rotation. Feet barely move, they go up and down and they can tilt side to side, but there's very little movement in there. And personally, I suppose these are meant to be like speakers, aren't they? But I'm not a fan of these one-piece skirt systems that some of the third parties are still introducing. Now, I think one of the selling points of this figure was the fact that he's marketed as being able to transform into 3 versions of Jazz. We can bring those wings out either side for those of you that love the wings, and then just bring this section back down like so. Or at the same time, you can do it toy wise, so you can bring up the neck tab piece as well and bring that up, and then you just say, "Printformers, could you please make me a shoulder cannon?" And I'm sure he will. As well as that, we can also untab this, and we need to just get inside here. So you want to, without breaking it, untab these shoulders and untab this shoulder and bring that down. And what you need to do, you need to untab this chest piece, lift this up. These are actually going to fold out, down like so. So we can bring those up to the top. So again, down on that shoulder piece. So we can bring that up and up. And then we can bring this back in. And the idea is to try and plug these in. It's a ruddy mission. These just don't work as they should at all. I've tried loads of different variations and twists and turns, and yeah, it's literally so close. Oh, to just chucking this. Oh, it's so frustrating. Why did they mess those shoulders up so badly? Oh, that's such a shame. If I figure out what I'm doing wrong, or if you guys point it out, then I will do an updated video. But for now, I mean, I can't. I'm just getting so cross with it. They are just terrible. However you maneuver them, you move one joint and another joint moves, and then things come untabbed. At least in his cartoon mode, he was semi-secure. This one, you can't even get the chest panel to tab in. If you get the arm panels to tab in, it's a little bit disheartening, because, you know, it's our hard-earned money going on these Transformers, and I was really looking forward to this guy for so long, and he would just get getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and then they got him out, and oh dear. That's all I can say. And now we have the hand, and we have the ability to place his hook on the hand, albeit incredibly tight. We have these speaker panels. You can either hold those in his hands, or they can tab in nicely behind his head there on those side panels there. So he's not bad once you get him displayed, and he definitely looks the part. It's just getting him displayed, which is the problem. It's getting those joints to tab in and do what they're designed to do. Please, somebody tell me that I'm doing it horrifically wrong and this isn't just an horrific mess on these shoulders. Thanks again to TF Direct for giving me the opportunity to take a look at this piece. If you do like the look of it and you know of their shoulder fix, then I'll include a link in the description below where you can check this out over at tfdirect.com. And until next time, from myself and Transform and Rollout's Agent Meister, thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Yeah.